stacks are upside down. Hello. All right, so I've seen a couple people do the end of the year book tag, and I kind of want to do it too. It'll kind of help introduce myself to you guys. My name's Amber, by the way. I've read several different books this year, and I kind of want to do this. You'll kind of get to have an understanding of my book taste, what I prefer, what I don't prefer, and just it kind of gives a little bit of background about my reading this year. All right. So the first question, most disappointing book of the year would be Happy Place by Emily Henry. Please don't come after me. Don't hate me. I discovered that Emily Henry is from the Cincinnati area. That is where I live. I was excited to support, somebody who lived in our area, and I was very excited, and people seem to always love her stuff. Very excited about it. Yeah, I did not care for it. The writing to me is just, it's okay. It's not great. The story wasn't great. I didn't fall in love with any of the characters. I didn't care too much about it. So it is what it is. The next question. What was an underdog book for me this year? So basically something that I thought was absolutely going to be terrible. Too many people were hyping it up. Phantasma. Really thought I was going to hate this book. Sometimes when a fantasy of some kind is so hyped up, like on Book Talk, and I've seen a couple videos on YouTube about it and everything else, whenever I see a bunch of people talking about a certain book, most of the time I know I can be disappointed. I actually was not. I ate this book up in like 2 days. I actually really enjoyed it. It was very different than what I was expecting it to be. I feel like this is the adult version of Caraval. I tried to read that. I made it like 150 pages in and DNF'd it. I could not stand it anymore. That one was way too childish, which I understand. It is a YA book, all that other stuff. I read YA. I like YA. That just was not a book I could get into. So this one I felt like was more along the lines of an adult version of that. So I actually really did enjoy it. What was an overhyped book you read this year? I know a lot of us were very, very, very excited about this book coming out. And then when it did, I was irritated. Iron Flame. Now, let me explain. I'm going to continue reading the story. Have I pre-ordered Onyx Storm? Yes, I pre-ordered that the day it went out, posted on Amazon. I will reread it. Why this disappoints me so much is it's long. It's a chunky book. There is a lot in this book. The print is very small. I would have taken a thicker book to have normal size print. But at the same time, I also feel like at least 200 pages of this book could have been eliminated. There was no reason for them. I feel like there was a lot of stuff in here that we really didn't need. And then there were some things that we could have been emphasized a little bit more. What sold me on wanting to keep reading it was the sheer end of the book. If you've read it, you absolutely understand why I want to keep reading the series, because I need to figure out what happened. But Iron Flame, I was really let down, and I know I'm not the only one. There's several people I've talked to that felt the same way. That Iron Flame just did not live up to the hype and the feel of Fourth Wing. So this one, it didn't do it for me like I was really hoping it would. A book that surprised you. This book absolutely shocked me. Full Moon Rising by Ruby Dixon. Did I think that I needed this in my life? Absolutely not. I like the colors and I like the sprayed edges, and that's kind of what sold me just on the looks. But then on the back, I read this, and it says, Ruby Dixon can do it all. She builds a stunning world, creates compelling, lovable characters, and then hits me with the Minotaur smut I always knew I wanted, from Ali Hazelwood. That sold me. Did I know I needed Minotaur smut in my life? Nope. Do I need it now? Yes, I can't. I hope there's more books to this series. I actually really enjoyed it. This was great. This also just proves that I need to read the Ice Planet Barbarian series, because obviously, if I really enjoyed this, I have a feeling next year that's going to be high up on my list of things that I need to get through. Your favorite book couple of the year? That would be Win and Bo from Out on a Limb. Oh my goodness, Golden Retriever. He's amazing. He's amazing. Just the sweetest guy. Yes, it does have a pregnancy trope in it. I know a lot of people do not like the pregnancy trope, and I am sorry. Sometimes I don't look into details in my books, like, you know, the synopsis of it or whatever. I don't look into those. I quite literally buy based on this or if somebody has recommended it. The cover kind of sold me on it, intrigued me a little bit. It was an author I had never read, never heard of her. Wanted to try it. I saw it at the Barnes & Noble. It was on the buy one get one half off table. Figured, hey, I'll give it a try. If it's terrible, it is, whatever. But I absolutely fell in love with this couple. This book lives rent-free in my head 24/7. I will be rereading this again eventually, and she has a couple other books that I want to get. But yes, he is perfect. They need to make real men like him. And I'm sure there are out there, don't get me wrong. But yeah, he's awesome. And the best part is they're both amputees, it's cute. It's built into the story. It's adorable. 6, your favorite main character of the year. I'm surprised to say this, but Bryce from Crescent City. She's kick-ass. She's a badass bitch, okay? Really like her, especially when Hunt comes along, and you know if you read it. Really, really enjoyed this. I listened and I dual read this book. So I did the graphic audio and this together, and whoa, was that an experience. And it totally brought Bryce to a whole nother level in my head. Yeah. I mean, I have thrown a glass this year, and Bryce beat out Aelin, to me at least. There's just something about her that I really liked. I think the modern aspect of the story kind of helped a little bit, just because that's the world we live in now. But anyway, really enjoyed this one. Question number 7, favorite author you discovered this year? That would be Christina Lauren. I have more books of hers, and I've read more books of hers. These two I actually haven't even read yet. They're still sitting on my shelf. The Paradise Problem. First one I ever read of hers, fell in love with her. I read her Christmas book. I've got this one. I've got these two to read still. I just love their writing style. They've got the romance and the third act breakup and all that other stuff. But I could almost tell that there's two authors, because the different sides of the story, you can tell the difference. Really enjoyed it though. The Paradise Problem, I really enjoyed that one. That one got me going. Author that didn't work out for you this year. Once again, don't come at me, Emily Henry. I'm sorry. I read Book Lovers, did not care for it. Happy Place, Book Lovers, Funny Story. I feel like there was one more that I read of hers. Just really didn't care. Just really didn't. I'm not vibing with it, but the best part is reading is subjective. If you love Emily Henry, good for you. My best friend loves Emily Henry's writing, so go for it, girlfriend. She's just not for me. So sorry about that. Number 9. What is the happiest book that you read this year? Slapshot Surprise by Melanie Harlow. I was actually completely shocked by this, even though, okay, so it's got painted edges and stuff. So it's got hockey sticks and little baby booties. And then even on the front, it's got the hockey sticks and the little baby booties. Tell me why I didn't know this had a pregnancy trope. My brain did not put 2 and 2 together on that one. As a pregnancy trope, but they are both really good people. They just really are. And they're both trying not to be too much for the other person. But yeah, and it was good from beginning to end. Nothing was terrible. There was no complete hatred or anything like that. Everything was kind of on the up and up the whole time. I really enjoyed it. I did not realize that this was not the first book in the series. But that's okay. I got the first book. I'm going to read that soon. But I actually really enjoyed this. You can read these completely out of order, apparently. There wasn't anything in this book that I felt like I was missing and had no clue what happened. So this was good. 10. The saddest book you read this year. 1,000 Boy Kisses. I cried almost the entire time I read this book. And we're talking ugly cry. At one point, my husband was concerned because he didn't know I was reading a book that could make me cry. And I was sitting there with just tears and snot and just everything. This book had me. I know that, what is it, 1,000 Broken Pieces or whatever, the second book. I know that's out. I cannot get myself to buy it and read it because I'm not sure I'm ready for that emotional heartbreak again. This was very good. It just, whew, man, did it get me. 11. The most frustrating book you read this year. Daydream by Hannah Grace. I read the other ones. I've read Wildfire. I've read Icebreaker. I was fine with those. They gave me exactly what I wanted. I wanted the smut. I wanted the spice. I wanted the steam. Got it. This book is a slow burn. But let me tell you why it was frustrating. It's about a guy who has a neurospicy brain. And he just can't function quite great. So she decides she's going to help him. But guess what? My neurospicy brain couldn't deal with how slow this was moving, and I was bored. With Icebreaker, with Wildfire, I was not bored. With this one, I was. But why? I mean, once we finally got to the actual gist of the story, and we got to the spice and the smut and the steam and all that other stuff, it was just like the other books. But my neuro brain could not comprehend at least that much. Almost half was where I was like, I'm bored. What do I do? I didn't care. So it was a letdown. I will read more if they come out. But 12, the best book adaptation of the year. I actually have hardly watched any movies this year or anything like that. I read It Ends With Us like 2 or 3 years ago. I read it a while ago. I don't even have the book anymore. I got rid of it because I wasn't going to reread it. But my bestie and I went to go see the movie when it came out. And I was actually pleasantly surprised. I think I liked the movie slightly better. Did I care for the actor who played the main male? No, not really. That's not who I would have picked. But I mean, that's quite literally it. The only movies I've gone to see this year are Moana 2, It Ends With Us, Despicable Me 4, and Inside Out 2. That's it. That's all I've seen this year. And at home, I don't watch TV. I don't really watch movies. I quite literally read. So that's about it. Your favorite cover this year. This was a hard one because all the covers are kind of just, I mean, that's what sells me on all my books. So this one was kind of hard because all my books, majority of them I pick up based on covers. Since I don't read the synopsis, I don't read any of that. So it was really hard for me to kind of determine which one was my favorite. I picked Heartless Hunter just because it's called Crimson Moth over in the UK and everywhere else. Hence the Crimson Moth on the cover. But it doesn't give anything away. There's nothing on this besides a red moth. Do you know what it's about? Do you? I think that's why I liked it because, one, it was a book of the month book. There's no synopsis on the back. That's all it looks like on the front. If I really wanted to, I could read the synopsis right there, but I wasn't going to. And everybody else had been saying, oh, it's so great, it's so great. So I read it. It actually is a good book. So, I mean, I will read the next one when it comes out. 14, a book you haven't stopped thinking about. Book I haven't stopped thinking about. Wild Eyes. Elsie Sober, she just speaks to me. There's something in that woman. She puts stuff in her books that just, it's addicting. I have actually read all of Elsie Silver this year. Every book. I've read every single one of them. Even the Chestnut Springs Christmas novella. I read that one too. Absolutely love her. But this book, Man, I think I read this. Literally, it got delivered by Amazon like in the afternoon, and I was done with it. I stayed up and read it until it was done. Her books are super easy to read, which some people hate because they want their brain to function a little bit more. Sometimes I don't want that. If I wanted that, I'd read a fantasy. If I'm reading a romance, I want the romance, and this did it for me. Absolutely loved it. The single dad trope, perfectly fine with that one. So yeah, Elsie Silver, absolutely loved it. An unpopular book that you loved. I'm not going to say this one's completely unpopular. Ooh. I'm not going to say this one's completely unpopular. It's just one that I haven't heard anybody talk about. I received it as an ARC, and I absolutely fell in love with it. I've had a couple book talk buddies that had received it as ARCs too, and we absolutely fell in love with it. It's a long book, but I would have accepted longer if I got more story. I mean, it was that good. It's Of Blood and Aether. Oh my word. This book was so good. Like I said, it's very long. It's by Harper Hawthorne. It is 543 pages. I really wish it was 900. It could have been longer than Crescent City, and I would have been perfectly fine with it. I absolutely love this. Since I received it as an ARC, it was digital on my Kindle. I have it on my Kindle still, but I had to support her and buy the physical copy, and I will be buying all the rest of the books. I loved this book. It's kind of like definitely a more mature Fourth Wing. Let's put it that way. There is like a magic system and all this other stuff into it. But then there is kind of like elements of Throne of Glass and all this. There's just a lot of things thrown into it. It's good. Really, really enjoyed it. A book you thought you'd love but didn't. Once again, Emily Henry. I was really hoping this one, based off of the things people were saying, it sounded better based off of other people's reviews, that this book was going to be better. A lot of people had said that this was the best Emily Henry book that they ever read, and yeah, they were so excited about it. So I was like, yes, this is finally it. This was her redemption book for me. Nope. Just nope. It wasn't. I'm sorry. A book with the most unique concept you read this year. This one was really hard because I had dived deep into a lot more fantasy this year. But I think there's just something about the world of Apprentice to the Villain, Accomplice to the Villain, all that other stuff. Really, really enjoyed this. This one read a lot faster and a lot easier than the first book. It just did. The first book was a lot of world building and kind of explaining the whole situation. This one just kind of jumped right in and you just kept moving right along. Really enjoyed it though. The world is it's a little more unique. Magic system's a little bit different. But I love the slow burn of this romance. And when I say slow burn, I mean slow. There's nothing quick about it. You could see that's where we're headed, and I'm hoping when the next book comes out, you can see that's where it's headed. But it is slow. But really enjoyed it. 18. Book you read this year that you will reread. The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I absolutely loved this book. I love Kristen Hanna. I love her historical fiction writing. I just do. There's something about it. It's so descriptive without being overly descriptive, so I can fully imagine and immerse myself into the scene. I feel like I'm there. I can vividly see everything in my head. A movie plays when I read her books. This book, there's something I love World War II history and all the stuff about it, and I think a lot of that just has to do with I grew up with my great-grandparents. My great-grandpa fought in the war, all this other stuff, so I've heard stories growing up of World War II. I've just been intrigued by the history of it and stuff, and I really like the French aspect of this, seeing the French side of a lot of things instead of the American side or, you know, the British side and German side and all that other stuff. I like being able to see more of what would have happened in France. But this was really good. It was written beautifully. I absolutely recommend it if you haven't read it. I've read several Kristen Hanna books now. This one, I will reread this one again because it does tug at your heartstrings. It really does put you in that time where you feel bad for all these people and there's no reason why any of it should have happened. So yeah, this will be a reread. A book you wish you got to this year. House of Flame and Shadow. As you can see, I have a bookmark in there. I made it page 86. It's taken me 3 months to get to this point. I don't know if it's just because there's shorter books that I've wanted to get to that I'm like, I can knock more off my physical TBR if I read those instead of this, because this hunker does take a lot of time. Did I download the other 2 books on my Kindle so that way I didn't have to carry around the jumbo books? I did. Have I done this one yet? No. I probably should do that if I want to finish this. I mean, let's be completely honest. I heard a lot of people say they didn't care for it, and I was super excited after I got done with House of Sky and Breath. I was very excited to jump into this book. I'm still wanting to see what happens. I just haven't reached that point yet. So this will be gotten to eventually. It'll definitely be read before the next ACOTAR book comes out, because apparently Sarah J. Maas has come out and said that it is highly suggested that you read all of Crescent City before the next ACOTAR book comes out. So I will do my assignment. I will read it and I will finish it. I just don't know when for right now. I've got other reading priorities. All right, Goodreads goal reflection and 2025 reading goal. My Goodreads goal and my Storygraph goal, they're the same thing, was 100 books this year. I just got done reading my 136th book this year, so I went above and beyond. Yay! I really didn't think I was going to make it to 100 books, but I made it to 100 books back in October, I think, and just kept flying from there. I mean, was it October or November? One of those months, I read like 18 books. I don't know how I did it, but I did. I think it was November. I read a lot of books. I was really shocked. My 2025 reading goal, I think I'm going to stick with 100. I know it's an attainable goal, especially since I have a couple big books I want to read next year that I know of as of right now, like Crescent City 3, Onyx Storm's coming out. I still need to reread Iron Flame, which, to be honest, I just got done rereading Fourth Wing. Loved it the second time, picked up a lot of stuff that I didn't realize that I missed the first time. Absolutely loved it. I'm just not in the headspace to jump back into Iron Flame after it irritated me so bad. So, I think I'm going to have to read that at the beginning of the year and then read Onyx Storm when it comes out. That way I'm completely like real close to being fully recharged to know exactly what's going on. And then there's just bound to be several other big books that are coming out that I want to read. Like Quicksilver, which I have up there on my shelf, is one of them that I want to read. I've got a couple Lauren Asher books that I need to finish. I got a couple series that I need to finish. There's a whole lot of different stuff that I need to do. All right, and question number 21. What will you prioritize in 2025 reading year? DNFing. That's what I'm going to prioritize. If I'm not vibing with the book, if I'm not enjoying the book, I'm just going to stop. Some books I give way too much of my time to just to hate them. And then some of my books I give way too much time to, and my thoughts basically about. I've been doing buddy reads with a couple girls, and we each month everybody gets to pick. We pick a different book based on like a drawing, and somebody gets to pick every month. There's been a couple months that I'm like, absolutely not. I'm not reading that book because it's just not in the genres that I know I like. It's not in anything that I want to do, so I'm just not going to read them. Which is perfectly fine. Nobody gets mad because we completely understand our mental health is a lot more important than reading certain books. And there are certain books that some of us, we don't want to do. But DNFing books that I'm just not enjoying, I'm doing that next year. I think I only DNF'd like 2 or 3 books this year. I think I DNF'd Caraval last year. I don't remember exactly when I DNF'd that, but it just was not for me. But yeah, if I'm just not vibing with a book, or if I know it's an author that I don't care for, like Emily Henry, Tessa Bailey's writing's not terrible. I just don't enjoy it. So I don't read Tessa Bailey either. So just prioritizing, if I know that it's an author that I just don't vibe with, just don't even try anymore. I gave Emily Henry a hard time this year. I really tried to like her writing. I just don't, and that's fine. So I'm going to try and prioritize. Just, if I'm not vibing, then we're done. That's it. All right. Well, thank you so much for sticking around and watching this, and letting me kind of introduce myself a little bit with my books, my taste, my choices, all that other stuff. And hopefully a couple of these you vibe with and kind of understand what I'm talking about. And if not, oh well. But if you could, you can please subscribe to my channel, and I will post more videos and more content about reading and books that I'm liking and books that I'm not liking and all this other stuff. I am planning on doing like a TBR takedown series, getting through different series that I've been working on, or yeah, I've got several series that I either need to start, I need to finish, or I need to just DNF. So yeah, I'm going to have a lot of content coming up soon. But yeah, thank you for coming. All right, that was Happy Place. I read Funny Story. There's another one that I read, and I can't remember what it is because I sold it. All right, question number 14. Hey, Charlie, you're not a rooster. After I got done with Sky...